Hi, and welcome to another exciting episode of Always Get Back On Blog Television. I'm your host today, JLo, the owner and head trainer of Punk Pony Riding School, and this is my favorite horse, Whoville, and we are at the beautiful Malibu Valley Farms in Calabasas. And today we're going to talk to you about the difference in saddle brands and how they rate up, and how to fit a saddle to you properly. Okay, so our first saddle is a really popular brand called Pessoa. This one is the R Pessoa. R stands for Rodrigo. Nelson Pessoa is the maker of this brand. He was an Olympic rider for the Brazil team. So that means that these saddles are made in South America, Brazil, and Argentina. This is the pony saddle. Again, the Rodrigo is usually the pony saddle. Saddle belongs to Nina. And the differences mostly is just, obviously, if it's a pony saddle, it's going to have a short flap. They come in sizes 15 and under. This is the adult version. It's called the Pessoa Gen X. It's a little bit older. This is Denise's saddle. See, it just says Pessoa versus R Pessoa. And the Gen X has a little bit of a forward flap. And there's other different kinds of Pessoas that vary in different flaps, regular, forward. These are a great saddle. They're affordable, they're comfortable, and they break in really easy. They also hold their value pretty good. I think brand new, they can range anywhere from $600 to $1,800, and they're a really good saddle. Again, really affordable for someone who wants to get like their first saddle. The next kind of saddle is, again, one of my favorites. This is a bevel. They're really expensive, brand new. They can retail anywhere up from $2,500 to $4,000. This is Marla's saddle. Again, it's like super teeny tiny. They tend to have not the deepest seat. They tend to have a little bit of a flatter, more cushiony seat. And they have these really cool air holes in the knees, which are really cool because they offer like a lot of support, or you can really push your knee into the saddle, take it off. They're really, really comfortable, but they don't always fit different kinds of horses. This one tends to have what we call a regular tree or a medium tree. So it's not very wide, but it's still a really great saddle. Okay, this brand of saddle is a fan favorite. They have been around forever. These are the Crosbys. Whoville's really excited about the Crosby. Probably the most affordable saddle you can get. They make great beginner saddles. My very first saddle was a Crosby. It didn't have any of the bells and whistles, no knee rolls, just very flat. You could get a great used Crosby for a couple $100. This one is Lila's. She got it used recently for $350, and it was barely used. I mean, the flap is still like in such great condition. Again, the air holes in the knee roll, my favorite. I just like it so much. It's very fuzzy, furry. I don't know. I like it. Okay. Great deep seat. Great to keep your leg in the right position. Very comfortable. You can sit deep. And it's really great for beginner riders who are learning how to sit and use their leg. Okay, and Mike's is probably my favorite Crosby on the market, called the Centennial International. See, it has the USA Olympic rings. These, brand new, retail for like $1,700 to $2,000. They're really expensive, and they hold their value. We actually just got this for Mike around Christmas time for $500 out of our friend's tack box. It was crazy. So you can see that we've had to stitch it a couple times because it has had some serious wear and tear, but still so comfortable. They're just as comfortable as some of the expensive saddles on the market. Mike's saddle has a pencil flap, so it's really thin and it's straight down. Lila's is a little bit more on the forward side. Thank you. Both are great. This is a great saddle flap for if you're like to stay in your 2-point, kind of stand up a little bit, keep your legs straight. Lila's, again, good deep seat. The forward flap helps you keep, stop. It allows for you to have a nice shorter stirrup and bend in your knee. Another thing I wanted to say about the Centennial, what's great about it being, even though it's an expensive saddle, it's a cheaper expensive saddle, is that riding wise, it is so great for your position. You could jump a small fence or a big fence and you really land in the same spot every time, which is great for recovery and being able to be versatile in your jump height. Last but not least, we have the creme de la creme of saddles. These are CWD, which are a French custom-made saddle. They are ridiculously expensive. They can go all the way up to $6,000. You can get them fully customized. This one's mine, which I got for my birthday this year, used. It was $1,400, and the only reason I was even able to get this saddle was because all of my awesome clients and family and husband raised money and bought me this amazing saddle. So thank you, everyone. I can't say enough good things about this saddle, and really it's all across the board amazing. The seat is deep, the flap is wide, again with the air hole knee rolls. I've got all these custom little blocks, again, to keep your leg in the right position so you could jump a big fence, you can jump a little fence, you just don't move in these saddles. Sometimes they can make you seem like you're a better rider than you really are. Not that that's the case in my case. This one's Robert's. Again, with the CWD, you get the big flap and the air holes. His flap is really forward. And what's weird about this one is I don't love the forward flap, but again, super duper comfortable. He bought his for a boatload of money, and it really has stayed in great condition, even though he takes really good care of it. But the saddles, mine is a bit older, mine's a 2005, and again, it really still looks fantastic for how old it is. Last we're going to talk about is how a saddle should fit you properly. And since we're too lazy and hot to get on a horse right now, we're just going to do this
imaginary horse.
The imaginary horse. Okay. Your saddle, when fitting properly in the rear region, you should have 4 fingers between your tailbone and the back of the saddle. I have a little bit more room because I have the world's smallest butt, but also I have the world's longest legs for such a small person. So I have to have a little bit of a bigger seat. I probably should be in a 16, but my saddle is a 16 and a half. And then with the flap, it should go to the top middle portion of your calf. Your knee should have a couple, like 1 to 2 inches of room behind the front of the knee roll. You don't want to be off like that, because if you land or you chip funny to a fence or you get a weird deep distance, you're going to go right off the front of your saddle. So you want to have a little bit of room, as I almost fall and die. And the same thing back here. I like a little bit of a wider flap, so I have a little more room for my leg to go back and forth. So I could be a little less accurate in this saddle, whereas if I had a saddle like Mike's, which we talked about earlier with the pencil flap, I'd have to be standing in my stirrups very accurate the whole time. So I have a little more room for margin of error in this saddle. Some final points about when you're buying a saddle, because this is going to be a commitment for you for a very long time, hopefully. Make sure it's comfortable. You have to love your saddle. It's got to be your best friend, because you are going to probably own it for a very long time. Make sure you're not like, oh, I may have enough room in the front. Make sure that it definitely fits to your leg. Also, maybe if you don't own your own horse, or you own multiple horses, make sure it fits so that fits one of your horses at least, so that way you could be versatile. Like some horses may be wider than others. So on a wider horse, your leg is going to come out more, which on a narrow horse, your leg is going to come down more. If you're on a wide horse, that means that the flap is going to bow out and that your leg is going to hang. It might come to like the higher part of your calf. Remember that you want to be top to middle. You don't want it right under your kneecap. And take really good care of it. Clean it a lot. Thank you so much for joining us today at Punk Pony Riding School. I hope that you found our saddle review and fitting information to be useful in your saddle buying endeavors. I'm Jennifer Lopez, and this is Bella Nella.
Yes, now me.
For Always Get Back On Blog Television. Go. Put him over to the kitchen gun.
See, you got a nice purple back.
Oh, did you get cookies?
Yeah.
Don't.
Mel, will you come here and hold him in space?
Or just give him cookies.
Ew, don't give him anything.
He'll eat it, watch out. Okay.
He'll be like Roscoe.
Okay, ready? Okay. Oh, we're filming? Yeah. Oh, shit.
It's not even cut it out.